Okay, folks, now that we have our map, I'm going to now show you how you can post it on the website. So, here's my website. I want to add a new page for this particular assignment. I'm going to call it Exercise 2 Google Earth. Okay. And I want to make this as a sub-tab under the assignments so that on my web page, when I hover over assignments, there's exercise 1 and there's exercise 2. Okay. And I'll just change this image quickly to something else. Why not a blue smudge? It's as good a thing as any. Okay. So now I can start adding material to this web page. So if you remember where we left off with Google Earth, is that we had our map completed. And so now the first thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and save it again. I want to make sure exercise 2, the folder that contains everything, is highlighted. File, save place as. I'm going to call it exercise 2 final. Saving it as a KMZ. So saving it as a KMZ allows me to include all these layers in one file. A KML only saves one layer at a time. Okay, so exercise 2 final. So now I can go to Google Earth Web and what I want to, and remember this is a bleeding edge technology, so this may or may not work depending on my layers. So I'm going to import a KML layer. Make sure that you've said it's okay to do this in settings. So I'm going to go to my KMZ file, exercise 2 final. Okay. So let's just see what happens here. Okay. So it looks like everything came through except maybe the color for the geology background. So we still have the data, okay, but we don't have the color for the background there. And so we do have our topo map, and we do have our GPS track, and we do have our road and our parking lot. So, and let's see, let's click on our, okay, let's click on our, so we do have our image and our text. It's not formatted quite as nicely as we'd like, but hey, this is just the beginning here. So, okay, so let's just take a look at what's in here. So we've got our GPS layer, right? We can turn that off or back on again. Our parking lot layer. So here's our little parking lot right here. Turn that off or back on again. The topo map, I can turn that off or back on again. And then the road, I can turn that off or back on again. Okay. So let's share this. So let's go ahead and share this on our web page. So let's see what our options are here. We go over to share. Let's get a link. Let's copy that link. And then let's go to the website. Insert. So I can try to embed. So I'll use the URL can't embed due to provider site permissions. URL will display as text link only. So that means that Google Earth Web currently doesn't have the ability to embed. That's fine. So let's go ahead and view this site now. Okay. And let's click on what this link will look like. So it'll basically bring up a direct link to Google Web Earth, and it'll show the view that you were last in. Okay, so let me go back into editing my website. I'm gonna add a text box. Let's choose heading. Google Earth Web Map. Okay. The next thing we want to do is this is going to be the my Google Maps map. Okay. So my Google. Okay, so we're done with this here. So you go to my Google Maps. Okay. So my Google Maps is, again, and you've got this if you've got Gmail. I'm going to just create a new map. So this is a way to create web maps, just so you'll see how this works. So I'm going to show you folks first. Let's try to just import our entire project here. So exercise 2 final, 8 megabytes. Okay, so it's trying to import it. Oops, and it says it's too big. There's a 5 megabyte limit per layer. So what our other option is you go into Google Earth, and you're going to want to do this for every layer, is you highlight each individual layer, and you say save place as GPS device. So, we can call this, it could be GPS points, whatever you want to call it. So what you're going to be doing is basically saving each layer individually so that we can add them individually. So go ahead and go down the whole list and save each one individually. And I can tell you right now, the issue is the topo map. And it doesn't matter. The other ones you can save them as KMZs or KMLs, but the topo map you have to save as a KMZ because it is a raster, and we'll talk more about what rasters are. But you do have to save it as a KMZ. So anyway, once you have all of your layers individually saved, you can go back and add these layers individually. So let's import, select the file from your computer. Here are my GPS points. Because most layers are going to be plenty small. Okay, so there we go. My GPS points are in there. Add another layer. Let's import. Let's see here. Now notice the topo map. That's the 7.9 megabyte layer, so that's too big. Now just a note on this. So way back when you were resizing your topo map, you could have chosen to make it lower quality, like 50% quality, and that would have probably brought it down low enough to be able to add. So if you really do want to add your topo map to Google Maps, then feel free to go back and just save a less high resolution version of your original topo map, and that'll let you be able to add it. But I'm not going to require it for this exercise. So let's see here. The end of the hike. Okay, so that added our picture with our waypoint on there. And let's add another layer. And I think it's 7 layers. You're limited on the number of layers as well as the size of each layer. So let's see here. The surficial geology. Oh, and that's something I did want to mention. So when you're saving a shapefile, so so if I'm going to save this as a KMZ file, it says you cannot save this document with extension shape SHP at the end of the name. The required extension is KMZ. You can choose to use both, so that your file name ends in shp.kmz. So I could just use KMZ, or I could use both. You know, why not use both? So that just reminds me that it was a shape file and it's been converted to a KMZ. So anyway, that's something to keep in mind. So I'm going back here and adding my layers. Let's add another layer. Let's look here. What do we have next? Roads. Okay. Okay. So looks like our surficial geology map needs some styling here. So we can go ahead and add colors. You know, whatever colors we want. So that this is no longer unstyled. So however the shapefile was designed, for some reason we're not getting the styling information for these colors. You know, if you remember, that's what happened with Google Web or Google Earth Web. Here, though, we do have the option of changing, right? And I'm just kind of adding these willy-nilly. Don't be too concerned what colors I'm adding. So anyway, I can go down and add, and I could edit this stuff. I could add pictures, and so you know, you could. So I showed you how to add an image in Google Earth. You could add an image here in my maps. So, but do notice there's a limitation here. So when I go to import a layer, it says you can only add CSVs, XLSXs, KMLs, or GPX files. So you can't actually add shape files directly to Google Maps, and so you would have to, add a shape file to your Google Earth and convert it to a KMZ, or there's online shapefile conversion tools. And the same thing with, this is just for mapping, so you couldn't actually make a you can actually georeference an image. So if you wanted to be able to georeference your PDF, you'd need to be able to do it in Google Earth and then, overlay it into Google Maps. So there's a reason why you would want to use Google Earth, because Google Maps is mainly just an adding layers and sort of adjusting the layers type web app. It does not really allow you to do the work that Google Earth allows you to do. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to worry about styling all these. You folks can mess around with that. You can change the, this is, I'll just call it our favorite hike. Add a description if you want. and you can always, you can change. That's the nice thing about Google Maps, is that you can change all of this stuff, right? You can change the title. You can change what all these layers are named. I'm not going to mess around changing all that, but I do want you folks to kind of see the functionality, right? So when you get the map how you like it, right, you can go ahead, go to your website, and you can go to, so you've got an option here to embed a map. So you go to My Maps, our favorite Indiana hike. Okay, and now you've got an embedded map from Google that, oh, sorry. So let's go to, here we go, Web View. So now notice this is an actual web map, right? So you can actually control, what you're doing here. The downside is, so you can actually, so you do have to remember to toggle this up here to be able, so, but you can turn layers on and off, right? Just by being able to toggle. And this is actually really, really powerful, right? So just adding a few layers, you're able to change how your map behaves, and you're able to actually make a web map that's responsive on the website, right? So this is just like if I were clicking on a website. So that's pretty cool. So let me go back. Let's change something on the map. Let's go down and change the base map. And I would recommend renaming. So you need to rename all these layers so that it's obvious, what each one of these layers are. Just having a layer named tracks isn't that useful, right? So you just want to rename it, our hiking route, so on and so forth. So make sure you rename everything. Make sure it makes sense. Oh, did we click on here? Yep. So that's definitely working. So perfect. And you could add more photos if you wanted to. And you could even export this to KML, KMZ, right, and then play with it with Google Earth some more. So let's go. Let's change the base map here. Let's change it to terrain. Okay, so instead of our topographic map, we've got our terrain map here. And now let's go back to our website. So I've changed my Google map in Google Maps, right? So this should refresh. I say it should refresh. Because I've changed my map in Google. So okay, so it's not automatically refreshing yet. But anyway, that should happen. So there's some lag somewhere. So anyway, that way, your maps can continually update as new data come up. So that's how you are able to upload your map to Google Earth Web and share that link. And then you're also able to upload your map, embed your map as a Google Maps map. And then the last thing you'll be doing is your question set for the lab. Okay. And you'll put a link to that right down here. So remember in the lab, so there's a link here at the bottom for questions. Okay, well anyway, that's your lab. Make sure you get working on it, and please do let me know if you have any questions. All right, thanks.